makers, it's Ashley from the Candle Collective, and I'm bringing you a video today all about, are there too many of us? Question mark, question mark. I actually do get asked this quite a bit. It's been in a few comments on YouTube, and it also just kind of circulates in some of the Facebook and group forums of makers out there. And honestly, I felt it myself. Like, are there just too many candle makers out there? And I'm going to niche it down for this video, but I really think that it's applicable in anything else. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ashley and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run a yoga business, I run a marketing business, an Airbnb, and now candles has been my latest endeavor. And honestly, I've even had the feeling in the yoga industry, in the yoga world. And to provide a little context about that, for 7 years I've been running a mobile yoga studio. And there have definitely been times in that industry where I've thought, like, dang, are there just like way too many of us? Like, this feels like a very saturated, maybe a little incestuous type of business, because people just kind of like pop around to different yoga studios, teach similar things, so on and so forth. I only share that to lend a little bit of gravity and weight in regards to what I'm going to be talking about in the rest of this video today. And I hope that it just sheds some light on whatever particular part of journey of candle making, or again, your niche that you're tuning in to this channel for, because it's applicable anywhere, and it's just some honest questions to think about. And I am going to be tailoring it to candle making. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, because who loves a long agenda? Nobody. The question that I'm always asked is, you know, are there too many candle makers out there? Should I even start another brand? Like, what is the point if somebody down the road is already doing it? And that's honestly a very valid question, and something that I actually thought about too. I came into candle making in the great COVID rush of 2020, and I'm certain that my predecessors and people that have been in business 5, 10, 15, who even knows how many years, are probably like, geez, guys, like, all these new makers out there and companies that are really facilitating kind of this like change your hobby into a business type of mentality. You know, it definitely, like, there's an influx in numbers. And so there's not really an answer to the question of, are there too many? Well, yeah, there really are too many. But the answer to that isn't necessarily supposed to deter you from going and following your dreams or following what you want to do. So let me break that down a little bit. Yes, there are way too many makers out there. There are a lot of people out there reinventing the wheel or trying to reinvent a wheel that is not necessarily broken. That's in any industry. But that's not to say that the world and your niche market or your target market or your corner of whatever territory you're in doesn't need what you're bringing or providing. Now, that also is met with really stressful conversations and head talk with ourselves of like, what am I doing to be different? Like, are we striving? Are we forcing something to make ourselves like stand out that maybe doesn't necessarily need it? And or the other end of it is maybe we do need to be pushing ourselves a little bit more so that we do stand out and we do show ourselves in the best face that we have for our business, because maybe we are a little bit too carbon copy to what somebody else is doing. And I have another video about that, a video that talks about like, are you copying or are you inspired? So if you haven't watched that, I would suggest you guys take a peek at that, because that is a different conversation, obviously, but it lends itself to what I'm talking about today. When I started making candles, I purely did it with blinders on of just like a curiosity and an interest to what goes into making a candle and how do I make a candle that burns well in my home? Can I do it? And of course, you know, by nature with me, what I consider being a serial entrepreneur, I have a hard time letting anything live on the hobby shelf. And you can ask anybody around me, that is just true to my nature, that anything that is sitting on a hobby shelf for too long, I naturally and genuinely want to share it. I want to share it with the masses. I want to create a business out of it. More so probably just because I want to like feed my own brain just to be like, can she do it? I don't know. We'll see. That's, again, a whole other video that I probably will never make because, woo, that would probably be boring to many people. But we're going to get out of my headspace and we're going to talk a bit more about this. Yes, the market is way too saturated, but no, there is not another you. And so you really have to be the defining answer and definitive answer to that question If you're going to let that stop you to not be another one that, yeah, at the end of the day, we're all candle makers and we're all on that same category and industry. But that's not to say that you aren't going to be the next wonderful candle maker that the market really needs for that niche industry. I know that I'm trying to always find my foothold, and I have a lot of things with my local community and with the region around me that have really found to be a strong foothold for me. But I'll be honest, me breaking out of areas where people maybe don't know me and want to support me has been really tough. And so that's been discouraging at times. And that's definitely where I've thought about, like, do I need to be another candle maker like outside of my geographic territory that is like within reach for me? The answer for me still is yes, because I have that hunger. I have that I don't have that satiated feeling yet of this is where, you know, maybe this is just where my bubble is blown up to. Like, I want to keep expanding. I want to keep growing. But I always have that question mark with myself of like, how am I going to get to that space of like, yes, I'm doing really well. I had a great first year. I'm having a really good second year so far. But like, where is that threshold going to be? And how is that self-talk going to get in the way of me growing? Because I do feel like it is a bit saturated in the markets that I'm getting into. And a lot of things that I hear from retailers, because wholesale is a big part of my business, is we already have a local candle maker, or we already have a candle maker that we've been working with for years. And that's probably where that question really comes up. Now, the other side of that question is that a lot of people say, and I'll see this, and just to be a full disclosure, I have felt this. You know, I would be absolutely lying to you guys if I said that I didn't go to, you know, a grower's market or an event or show where there's another candle maker. And I will be very transparent. This is not my favorite color on me, but I've been like, well, you weren't here 3 months ago, or you weren't here 6 months ago. And I have to really like step back and talk myself back from that, because first and foremost, if somebody had that feeling about me, I would be really sad. I would be really bummed out. And secondly, there really is enough room for everyone, because A, B's, and C's candles are not all going to be the same. We might be sourcing a lot of the same products, a lot of the same waxes, a lot of the same fragrances, but at the end of the day, that's where we need to pay attention to our copying versus inspiration of, as long as they're not copying my complete brand of black and white and all my scents and all my fonts and all my, you know, titles and descriptions, we really are playing a different end game. I want them to be successful. I would hope that they want me to be successful. But I do have a feeling that that is where the root of this question is coming from, is those people that are makers at the same level that we are, of like, is this too saturated? Are there too many of us? How many candle makers can one possibly have under one roof? And I don't want to find the answer to that, but they can have as many as they want. So then another, like, let's extend that arm of the market being too saturated. I haven't come across this directly, but there are people that, you know, maybe you know someone, a friend, a family member, or someone that is like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a candle company. I just love what you're doing, fill in the blanks. Hopefully they say they love what you're doing and not just telling you that they're starting a candle company. Oh man, that would hurt. But maybe you motivated somebody else to, you know, pick up the experiment bug and the hobby bug of making candles. And then they're like, I'm going to start this. Let's just all call a spade, and probably the initial reaction that we all have is, oh, like we kind of tighten up a little bit. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was going to be like this close. So we need to think about that. Here's the deal. Unless somebody is coming in, they are copying every last thing that you're doing. They are literally just like copy pasting your brand identity and things like that. You know, it might feel really close. There's really not much that you can do about it. Except make sure that they don't live rent-free in your head. And you guys, I am preaching to the choir on this. I absolutely know, easier said than done, but I do want to share with you guys, this has happened to me. I have seen people out there that I didn't know, thankfully. I think that if I did know them, that would probably be a bit more sticky and grimy of a situation to be dealing with. But I have witnessed people both in yoga and in candles doing things that at the end of the day, there really isn't much that I can note as difference besides the face of the brand, which would be me. And that is a really hard place to live because I have one of two options at that point. I can contact the person, call them out, have a conversation, do that route, or I can just go business as usual and keep doing what I'm doing and just be annoyed anytime that somebody says, oh, well, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Bullshit. It's lack of creativity and it's super annoying. Can we just change that quote already? I don't know, guys. I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole of this, but I want you to know that I have experienced these things and I am just human just like everyone else. And I think the first order of business is just checking ourselves of like, okay, how much time and energy am I going to spend on worrying about what this other person is doing peripherally? If they're not doing anything that's similar to us under the umbrella of just making candles, you got to let it be. And honestly, at the end of the day, there's enough room at the table for everybody. It might not feel like it, but that needs to be motivation for you and your business to have the time, the focus, and the energy to move forward in a path that your customers are going to connect with instead of playing defense to somebody else who is playing a similar game to us. I didn't mean this to be so like metaphorically like sports driven, but hopefully that connects the dots for you guys that yes, the saturated market is here. Yes, there are a lot of candle makers out there, but no, there is not another you. And that doesn't mean necessarily that you have to be the face of your brand, like your mug doesn't need to be plastered on all the social media or anything like that. But it does mean that your voice, your message, your mission, your focus, your energy needs to be going into your own brand if you want to be the one that's playing the long game. And when I say the long game, I don't mean this to insult somebody who starts it as a hobby and goes into a business and maybe they find that the business needs a bit more than what they're energetically ready to give. So maybe they scale back a bit. It is a full-fledged fact that not a lot of businesses make it past their first, second, and third years. It's really hard out there to grind and to make your way and to make a path. So, maybe this moment in time of worrying about what somebody close to you or somebody close in proximity to you is doing, that might feel a little bit similar. Maybe it's time to really focus on like, what are your goals? What is your long game? What are you trying to do? Because I know come hell or high water, Upside Goods is going to be here 5 years from now. And it's not that I don't wish the person down the street to have that same success and longevity, but I need to be focusing on what I'm doing as opposed to what somebody else is doing that affects what I'm doing. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. At the end of the day, I could probably talk about this topic a really, really, really long time. I do think that the market is too saturated. I think that a lot of markets are too saturated. And I even felt this when I applied for Shark Tank a couple months ago. I made it through the first round, made it to the second round, and then I just found that at the end of the day, there isn't something that I'm inventing here. I didn't invent the candle. That would be pretty cool. I think we get a little ahead of ourselves on this, and when we go and we put all this energy into creating a business within this market, to really pause and think about of course other people are going to want to do this. There's a reason why we wanted to do this. So instead of being on guard, offended, or at a distance of people who are wanting to do this, we really should just be cheering them on. We should be in their corner. We should be motivating. We should be accelerating. We should be doing all the things. Just because somebody else succeeds does not mean that takes away from anything that I'm doing. I am my own worst enemy and I am my own boss. So what I need to do is go and succeed myself, and then maybe they'll be congratulating me, and that would be really awesome. Because who doesn't love new friends that you have things in common with? Because I'll be honest, after the age of 30, it's really hard to make new friends. So that's my TED Talk for today, guys. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you've had a situation that has come up for you that maybe wasn't addressed directly in this, or it's a specific instance, leave it in the comments below and let the other makers and myself weigh in on maybe some things that we could do to suggest that will help you on your journey of candle making and in your business world. I think that this is a conversation that really does need to be talked about a lot more. It shouldn't be this dark conversation where it's all defense and strategy and I can't believe X, Y, and Z did this type of thing. There's going to be obviously people out there that are going to play probably a little bit of a dirtier game out there, but that does not mean that that needs to be your game. That does not need to be your energy, and that does not need to be your light. Get it, candle makers? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. My name is Ashley. If you're interested in a 30 for 30, it's 30 minutes for $30. We meet over Zoom and we just go through any obstacles or roadblocks you feel like are in your way for launching, relaunching, running your business. And I try and offer advice or maybe ideas to kind of think outside the box with the same maker's hat on that you guys have. If you haven't yet subscribed to, I would absolutely love it if you do that. Subscribe to this channel. Follow along on this journey with me. I talk about all things marketing, business, candle making, and obviously brain dumps like this. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.